Right, here we are, class 8. It's not such nice weather today, it's raining today, so I thought I'd brighten up with my clothes. I did watch Mr. Motivator this morning, who's motivated me to wear something a bit brighter. So apologies if you've had to adjust your set. So here we go. Right, so starting off lying down, remember, check your space, because it's a bit annoying if you just stop and restart because you haven't given yourself enough space. So a quick wingspan check before you get going. Check the ornaments. Check the dogs, cats, budgeries have all been put away. Budgies have all been put away. So you've got plenty of room, plenty of space to work. Get a cushion if you want one. Towel for underneath your head when we're lying down if you fancy that. If you just feel like doing a warm-up, just do the warm-up. 15 minutes of mobilising the spine. It'll make you feel a bit better. You might find at the end of the 15 minutes you can do a bit more, but see how you get on. Pick and choose, work through the classes to suit you. You don't have to do them all. You don't have to do them all in order. Just pick the one that you fancy for today. So we'll get going, lying down on your mat. Legs bent or straight, whichever suits you better to start with. Relax the shoulders. Close your eyes if you want to, and just give yourself that bit of time just to notice how your body's feeling. If maybe your shoulders are a bit tight today or your lower back's a bit gripey, just give yourself a bit of time to relax that part of your spine that needs it. And breathe. Keep breathing throughout the hour. I won't keep telling you when to breathe in and when to breathe out because I find it just becomes a thing. But if you do become aware that you're holding your breath, it might be a sign that you're working a bit too hard. Come back down the level or just have a minute. So full breath in, full breath out. Feel your little ribcage expand, widen as you breathe in, contract, squeezing as you breathe out. Reset the pelvis if you feel your lower back's not in a comfortable position. Roughly neutral, rough straight line down the front of the body, natural curve underneath you. Reset the shoulders if they're feeling a bit tight, and then we'll start moving. So you're going to turn your head from side to side. You can keep your eyes closed if you want to on this move, just to feel that nice bit of massage across the back of your head, relaxing the tension in your face, in your neck, in your shoulders. Don't rush this move. Enjoy that nice little bit of rotation. I'm going to do a little bit more neck work later on in the class today, so if you are feeling your neck's a little bit tight, there's more work to come. Bring your head back to centre. Start with whichever arm you fancy. I'm going to do my right arm. And with your elbow bent, hand just resting lightly on the shoulder, start to circle it round. Little tension in the belly, so you just squeeze your abdominal muscles in slightly to give you a bit of stability on the floor and allowing you to circle that arm. One more in this direction, and then still with the arm bent, you're going to reverse your circle. And again, if that feels the right amount of work, just go back to the first direction, or if you're ready for a little bit of a deeper stretch, straighten the arm. So we're still just working on the same arm. Circling it around. A little bit more of a squeeze of the belly to stop the ribcage lifting as the arm travels. And then again, reverse that circle. If it's feeling all crunchy or uncomfortable, just go back to the bent arm. It just means the arm's a bit lighter and a little bit easier to move. So when that arm's loosened up, we can move over to the other arm. Start with the elbow bent, because remember this arm hasn't done any work yet. Just circling it round. Around about somewhere between 5 and 8 reps is about the level I find is right, but you can always vary that to suit you. And then again in the other direction. I'm not sure if I'm a bit close to the wall now. I didn't do my wingspan check lying down. So you can stay with the bent arm or you can go into the straight arm. No, I'm in the way of my water bottle. That sounds familiar in the class, doesn't it? There's always water bottles flying around when you start to move your arms about. Circle round, keep that rib cage pulled down. And then again, reverse your circle. And if your shoulders feel that they're ready for more work, you can do both arms together. Starting to stretch the front abdominals, so squeeze the ribs down towards the hips as the arms travel back, and you'll get a good stretch down the front of the body. Start to notice that your arms might be travelling in a bigger circle now, so you might be able to get closer to the side of your head and then making that circle a bit more of a sweep. And then you can do the other direction if you want to, just to get into the back of the shoulders. Good. And that sets us up nicely for our chest stretch. So hands underneath the head, elbows out to the side, or if you prefer, just lie still with your arms out straight. I'm going to have to move forward a bit. I'm going to keep bashing this wall, and then I'll keep going on about it and annoying you. So move over a bit, that's better. So arms out to the side if you prefer, or hands underneath your head. And you're going to bring the elbows in and out. I want you to feel that bit of work across your back as your shoulder blades squeeze together and as your shoulder blades move apart. Doesn't matter how close or far away your elbows are from the floor, they might not touch the floor, that doesn't matter. I just want you to feel that little bit of work across your back. As the shoulder blades squeeze together, that's going to stretch your chest muscles. And that's important. If you're getting any discomfort in the neck or across the back of your shoulders or even down into your lower back, if the upper body is very tight, then the discomfort can travel all the way down because it pulls you out of position. And then take the elbows out and leave them out and breathe deep. Really fill up those lungs. Right deep into your belly with that breath now. Couple more here. Hold the breath in for a few seconds so you're not making yourself dizzy. And push it all out. Squeeze your centre and push the air out like you squeeze toothpaste out the tube. Lovely. And then we'll get into our midsection with our twisting. Arms out to the side. Remember, you can keep your hands underneath your head for the supine twist if it suits you, but you're going to have to work harder on keeping those shoulders down. So your other option is arms out to the side, palms facing up, knees together, cushion between the knees if you want, and twist. Legs over to one side, back to centre, over to the other side. Stack your feet. Turn your head if you want to look at the opposite shoulder or the opposite hand. Don't worry about how close or far your knees are from the floor. That doesn't matter as long as you're feeling a twist in the midsection of your body. If you are feeling comfortable in the groin, remember, just let this top leg lift slightly from the bottom leg, or put that cushion between your knees just to support that leg a little bit more. And this is a stretch we can develop again. So we've got different ways of doing it depending on you and how much space you've got. So your one option, remember, is to go over to the side, straighten that top leg and push out through your foot. It stretches you a little bit more, so that's your one option. Might suit you. Again, just let that top leg lift up slightly if you want. If that option doesn't suit you or you haven't got the space, as long as you haven't had any replacement work done from the hip, you can just cross the one leg over. You can cross it all the way over. You can cross the ankle, it doesn't matter, just to make that leg a little bit heavier and give you a bit more stretch. It's nice for the lower back, this one. Around those hips. And then you just change legs when you fancy. And you can start to hold those stretches a little bit longer, maybe for a full breath in and a full breath out. But you never want to feel that you're forcing through a stretch, because your body will just react by tightening up and you'll hurt yourself. we'll do a little bit of lower back work. So reset yourself, get your shoulders comfy. Remember on this move, if you're not comfortable with your feet off the floor, if that doesn't feel comfortable for your back, just keep your feet on the floor and you can just let the pelvis rock slightly, just like you're moving a glass of water on your belly backwards and forwards, just to get some mobility in that lower back. Otherwise, feet off the floor one at a time and just cup around the back of your leg or around the front of your knee, just to hold the legs in place, not to yank on them. Relax the shoulders. You can widen your knees a little bit and for a bit, just lie still. Reset the neck if your neck feels a bit tight. Reset the shoulders. Breathe in and breathe out. Be aware of the weight of the legs and let them sink in towards your belly. Feel the spine just stretching out. If you're not comfortable, it's just going to distract you and you're not going to get the benefit. So just go back to your feet on the floor instead if that suits you better. If you are happy with your feet up, you might start to notice tension still in that lower back. So if you bring the knees together and the feet together, you can massage, move the legs around, holding on just the front of the legs or just round the back of the knees, just to support the weight of your legs as you circle round. Massage in the back. It's quite nice sometimes to move the legs forward and back. I would hold on to the legs unless your back's feeling very warm. I would hold on because it stops you going further than arm's length, which is basically your 90 degrees, unless you've got very long arms. It's just going to allow you to get that bit of mobility in the back without overdoing it. Benny's trying to come in. He's been banished today. He's a bit grumpy today. I don't know, he doesn't like the rain. He's gone up to his bed upstairs in the strop. Is it just my dog who's got more than one bed? Or everybody else's too? Let me know. Alright, put your feet down on the floor. And we're going to work through the legs a little bit. So reset yourself, get your shoulders comfortable and start to straighten the legs one at a time to start with. Just watch for cramp. If your legs are a little bit tight, then this is a good cramper and we don't want that. So just slide the foot out, slide the foot in. A little bit of tightness in this middle to stop the pelvis rocking backwards and forwards. We're not moving that glass of water on the belly. We're going to keep it nice and still. Weight is sitting almost at the bottom of the spine. Abdominals pulled in just to stabilise and keep us nice and still so we can focus on using these legs. Straighten the leg and add a little bit of ankle rotation on. So you might feel a little bit of cracking. As long as there's no pain there, it's just the joints loosening up, so don't worry about it. If there's pain, then bring the work down so you're not in pain with that movement. And again, you can stay with this low version, or we can develop it into the higher version, where you lift your leg to about 90 degrees, so you shoot your thighs vertical, and then you stretch up. Changing from leg to leg. It won't necessarily straighten. This is later in the day for me. If you're not watching it live, it's 2:20. So my legs have moved around quite a bit today. If you're doing this in the morning, your legs are going to be a lot tighter. And if you're doing it at night, they might be really tired, so they might not straighten, it doesn't matter. And then you can kick up and add the circle on. Check you're not pushing down hard on the other leg. The leg you've got the sole of the foot on the floor, it's just stabilising you, it's not pushing you off the mat. Just stretching through these legs. And then if you want, catch on the back of the leg and bring the other leg up, and then you can kick up. It's good for your knees. Again, you might hear a bit of creaking. As long as it's not painful, it's alright. If it is painful, don't stretch into that pain. And you can do both legs together and circle your feet. Now this one's very good for if you're feeling a bit stressed, because it's very hard to take yourself too seriously when you're lying there with your feet in the air, especially if you're watching somebody else doing it on your screen. So it just gives you a bit of light relief. And if your neighbours can see you, they're getting a bit of a laugh too, so it helps everybody. Spread the joy. And then again, hug the knees in. If you've got any osteoporosis, slip disc, or long way into a pregnancy, then ignore the next move. But otherwise, just tuck your chin in lightly and curl up as if you're trying to kiss your knees. And roll back down. Place the spine along the mat. Tucking your chin in just a little bit, just to support the neck. I don't want you to try and mash your chin into your throat, but you're curling in and curling out, holding onto the back of the legs. You might find you're happy with one hand under your head, or even both hands under your head if you want to. But we're just flexing and stretching the back. If you feel your back doesn't like this one, don't do it, because we're going to do cat and cow in a bit later on, so we'll get some flexion through the back that way, so don't worry if it doesn't suit you. But if you are doing it, enjoy the stretch out as much as the curl up. Allows you to just stretch that spine out along the mat. And then put your feet down, stretch your legs, stretch your arms back if your shoulders will let you. You can let the chest lift slightly now if you want to. So you're going to be aware of using your back muscles a little bit more. If that feels a bit crampy though, squeeze the ribs down to the hips instead. Stretch the spine. I want you to drag the weight out of these hips up through your spine. I'm doing for time. Loads left. So that's the warm-up done, and if you're thinking, oh, I need a cup of tea, you can just stop the video here and go and do something else if you want. Otherwise, we're going to move on to a bit of up on the knees. So, hands underneath you, or roll onto your side, push yourself up, grab a quick drink if you want one, then up onto your knees. Cushion or towel under your knees if you want to. Those of you who don't want to weight bear or can't weight bear on your knees, the moves we're going to do now, most of them you can do sitting up if you want, sit on your cushion or sit on your towel if you want to, if you prefer to sit. And the reason I'm giving you kneeling is if you're tight in the hip flexors, kneeling is very comfy, so it's just giving options. Up you come, roll the shoulders back. We're going to do a bit of work for the neck. So first thing I want you to do is look forward, straight in front, and imagine you've sat your chin on a shelf. Roll the shoulders back and down slightly, and then you're just going to turn your head from left to right or right to left. Again, you might hear a little bit of creaking, a little bit of squeeze of these bum muscles. I don't want you to drop back in on yourself, so keep your chest lifted. So you're using your leg muscles, you're stretching through the spine. Turning your head. If you're feeling a little bit crampy in the ankles or the feet, you can tuck your toes under if that suits you better. And then we're going to look up and down. So reset the shoulders again. Start with your head on your shelf, so you're in your neutral neck position, and then pull your chin in towards your chest, so you're looking down. Back to your shelf. And push your chin up to the ceiling, so you're looking up. And you're just going up and down. Always come back to your shelf, because if you throw your head down and up quickly, you'll go dizzy. Again, you might hear a bit of creaking. As long as it's not painful, it's alright, but if there's any pain, you're just pushing yourself a bit too far. And while you're up here, even though you're focused on working your neck, muscles down the torso and in the bum and the legs, they're working for stability. So you're getting those muscles working as well while you're here. And then my personal favourite is the wind your neck in. So chin on your shelf, push your chin forward on your shelf and then wind it in. You're trying to bring your chin to touch your throat. And back out. And be grateful that people can't see you, do it. Oh no, great, no, push forward, unwind in. Good one this, if you're doing a lot of sitting using a computer, because you tend to sit forward. Wind that neck back. Push it forward, wind it back, slide your shoulders down your back. A couple more of these. Winding your neck in. Alright, and then we're going to get onto the shoulders. So we're going to roll the shoulders. Just rolling them back and down. Again, I like to feel the shoulder blades just moving across your back. Yeah. Rolling them back. And you can stay with this. This is really good if you tend to be a bit round shouldered. So it's getting you to draw the shoulders back. Or if you want to develop the stretch, roll the shoulders back and down and put your hands in your back pockets, or pretend. And then try and lift your chest up and relax. So you're trying to lift the rib cage away from your belly, stretching it. And again, I want you to feel your back muscles working to lift your torso. If it feels too intense, go back to the shoulder rolls. Pull back. Hands are in your back pockets for stability. Try not to push your hips forward. Shoulders squeezing back and down. And then relax from that one. And we're going to do a little bit more work for the shoulders. So we're going to start with arm circles. Just a shoulder roll really. And you can stay with this, or you can make that arm circle, just like we do lying down. You can make a big sweeping circle if you want to. And I want you to feel the shoulder blade moving. Keep the hips up, so you're not dropping back. Squeeze the bum muscles. And then if you want to, or if you can, as that arm comes up, add a little bit of a rotation on. So you're opening your torso towards the side, so travelling that body a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to turn around, otherwise you just get to see a shadow on the wall, but you can stay facing the way you are facing. So we're going to start with our shoulder roll. So you're feeling that shoulder just starting to loosen and move. And stay with this if you want, or make it a circle. Pull that arm back and down. And then if it suits you, as your arm travels up, you rotate your body in that direction. Turn your head if you want as well, travelling around. And then we're going to do our lean backs. We like our lean. Oh no, we've got our spine twist to do first. Sorry, I should read my notes first. So bring your arms into a box. Shoulders back and down. Check that these elbows are not too high. They need to be about level with your shoulder. They don't need to be up around your ears. Pull your belly in and point your tailbone straight down to between your knees, and keep it there. So a little bit of a bum squeeze. Squeeze your £10 note. Keep your chest lightly lifted and then twist your torso. Now your hips are not moving. That tailbone is pointing straight down all the time. Little tip is to think about stretching up out of your hips. You'll find the joints in your spine have a little bit more movement then. You can move a little bit freer than if you're sinking down in on yourself and trying to twist. So up and twist. So you're presenting your chest to the side of the room, but not your belly. Squeeze those abdominals. If you're starting to feel this in your lower back, One, check you're not overworking, you're not extending back, but equally that you're not dropping forward. Find that neutral point in the middle and then zip up to support it. Keep your chest lifted. One more each way. There, and we've got our lean back. If your back's feeling a little bit achy and you want to rest before we do the next move, just come onto your hands and knees for a second, just to give you a rest. You can stay here while I talk you through the move if you want to. But if and when you're ready, you're going to come up onto those knees. Have your feet flat for this one if you can. You're going to put some pressure in those feet. You're going to squeeze your belly in, and I want you to put one hand on your belly and one hand on your lower back. And I want you to feel some work from your belly, but no work from your lower back. So this lower back is going to stay in its natural curve. Chest lifted, a little bit of pressure on the feet as you start to lean back. Squeeze your bum and pull yourself back up again. Now, it's not a big lean. What I want you to avoid, especially bendy people, I want you to avoid that dropping the shoulders back. Your belly will down. So it's like somebody who's just trying to push you back, and you're resisting because you don't want to fall backwards. You're allowing your weight, your legs to support your weight, and that's it. So under this front hand, you should feel those abdominals working. Under the back hand, your natural curve just stays exactly the same. Good, that one, innit? Really good work for the front leg muscles, that one. And stability in the spine, that we're not letting it drop out of shape. We're keeping a neutral spine. Good. And again, to recover from that one, if you find that quite a difficult one, which it is, down onto your hands and knees and have a rest. I'm going to offer you a stretch for the front of the body now. If you've got any lower back concerns, ignore it, stay on your hands and knees because that's where we come in next anyway, so don't worry if it's too much for you. And it is a new one, so you might want to just check it out first, see if it suits you. But if you tuck your toes, so your heels are a bit higher, reach back with your hands and lift your chest. Try and push your hips and your chest forward. If you're feeling a little bit more bendy, then you can lower your heels a little bit, so have your feet flatter and lift yourself that way. Push your hips forward, push your chest forward, breathe. And carefully come up, tighten your belly, and onto your hands and knees. That's another new one for you to try. Right, then we'll do our cat and cow. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Tuck the tailbone under and curl into a ball. And straighten. Let the belly drop down, stick your bum in the air. Pull your shoulders down your back, push your chest forward and up. And if it suits you, push your chin out slightly. And then back to neutral. Remember, don't swing from one extreme to the other. Work your way through, allowing your spine to flex and stretch. Remember, if this arch in your back doesn't suit you from here, come back up onto your knees, hands in the back pockets, or go back to that hands on the feet if you want to. Those will both stretch your back if they suit you better. I'm just giving you different options so your back gets a good opportunity to have a bit of movement. Let's have that knee hovers in. We love our knee hovers. So hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes if you want to, curl into your flex, into your ball, straighten, drop the belly, lift the chest, come back to centre, push the floor away with your hands, tighten your centre and lift your knees about an inch off the floor. Stay there for a breath, or maybe two if you're feeling good today. Back down, relax the feet, curl in, stretch out, come back to centre, squeeze the centre, push down through the hands, lift the knees. Smaller the lift, the better. If you bring your knees up very high, then you actually just push the weight up into your shoulders. You want to hold it in this torso. Doesn't matter whether you do the stretch or the bend first. Just get both of them in. Come back to neutral, lift the knees. Really good work for the arm muscles, this one. If you've noticed this nice weather we've had, you've put your t-shirts on and gone, a bit of work in these arms. Lovely. Then we've got our 3/4 plank and child's pose to do, which is a nice one for the back. So bring your hands further forward, so there's no weight on them. Keep this spine neutral, so as you bring your weight forward onto your hands, squeeze your belly, push down through your arms, and a little squeeze of these bum muscles. So your tailbone is pointing down towards sort of the heels rather than up to the ceiling. Then sit back. As far as feels right for you, don't push through, especially hip replacements. Listen to that body. Come back up. Push down through the hands. Remember, the 3/4 plank is a strength move. You are pushing yourself away from this floor. You're not dropping into it. Chest lifted, shoulders sliding down. Stay here for a breath or two if you can. Back up onto those knees. And this is the stretch bit. So let your hands push forward, let your bum push back. Stretching through that body. So strength on the way forward, holding yourself away from that floor. Squeeze your belly, push yourself up, and then push yourself back. We can add on, I know I had some good feedback, she says, lying, about the 3/4 plank with arm lift, so I'm going to add that on for those who want it, just to practice it again. So you're going to come to that 3/4 plank. Little tip, have your knees a bit wider and your hands a little bit closer, will help you stabilise. Squeeze the butt, lift the heart, raise your right arm. About level with your ear if you can. Put it down. Push through your right arm to allow you to lift your left arm, level with your ear if you can. Push the floor away with this supporting arm. Back down, and then you can sit back into your child's pose. Get your breath back. Come forward again, 3/4 plank, squeeze, keep the heart lifted. Push down through your left arm to allow you to lift your right arm. Push yourself away from that floor. Squeeze your butt. Put your right hand down, press through it, squeeze the butt, lift your left arm. Slide your shoulders down your back. Push back. Have a nice stretch. See if you can do one more. If taking your hand off the floor is too much, keep your hands on the floor. Push through the supporting arm, raise the other one. Same on the other side, push through the supporting arm, raise the other one. Lengthen through the spine, back down, sit back, good. Then we're going to do some work lying on your back. So if you bring yourself over onto your side bottom, then onto your back, grab a drink on the way if you want one. Excuse the slurping. So we'll start with our marching, we'll build up to our knee folds, we'll go into our single leg kick. Listen to your body, keep good technique. So get yourself comfy first of all, get your shoulders comfy, get your pillow ready in case you're going to need it. Right, when you're ready, lengthen the spine. Feel the pressure underneath your head, shoulders, hips. Keep it as level as you can, relax the shoulders. When you're ready, just lift your right foot slightly off the floor and down, and the same on your left foot. Remember this move, physically there's very little going on, I'm only lifting my foot a bit, but what I'm doing on this move is checking that I've got enough stability set up down this body, so when we move on, the core strength is improving, which is why we're here really. So we're making sure that the pressure under the head, shoulders, hips is pretty level as we take that foot off the floor. So you can imagine lying on water if it helps you. Have that image of water moving around underneath you and trying to hold your balance. Check your shoulders, sometimes the shoulders bunch up or the head pushes back. That's just your upper body trying to work too hard, so maybe zip yourself a bit tighter in the pelvis. So pull your belly button in, squeeze your waist in. Set your weight across those pelvic bones and that sacrum, right almost at the bottom of the spine, but not quite. If you're happy with your marching and you're ready to move on and you're getting a bit bored with me blathering on, you won't be the first. Come to your knee fold. So we've got two levels. Level one, we're just going to bring that one leg to knee fold. So about 90 degrees-ish at the hip and the knee. I've got your foot up here, bend that knee. Hold that for 5 seconds. Back down, try and keep your weight really stable across your body as you do the same on the other leg. It's really easy to cheat in supine exercise if you're not careful. And it's not deliberate, it's just, well, I'm just bringing my foot up. And we forget about the core aspect of the move. So if you feel your pressure points underneath you, or imagine balancing on that water, you're going to start to build the strength in this core, and it's going to really help your posture. And then we've got double knee fold if you want. Remember, if like me, you're quite arched in the back, bring the second leg up. Doesn't matter how strong you are, it's quite a challenge, it doesn't feel right. So if that's the case, just bring your knee a little bit closer and it reduces the curve underneath you. Squeeze the centre and float the second leg up. You might find if you're very curved in the back, that you actually need just a towel slightly underneath your head, just to help you. If you're new to these moves and you're struggling to keep your back comfortable, then just roll a towel up under your neck and it might help you reduce that curve slightly. But otherwise, one leg up, zip, float the second leg up. Get these legs parallel to each other. Relax the shoulders. Hold it for 5 seconds. And then feet back to the floor one at a time. That's your rest. Ready to start again. So lengthen, squeeze the centre, float the one leg up, get it in the right position to support your back. Bring the other leg up to join it. These legs appear to float. Feet down one at a time. You can rest your hands lightly on your belly if you want to, just to feel what's going on. And we don't want to feel the abdominals bunch up. So you want a nice long body. Parallel legs. Shoulders relaxed. Legs appear to float. We're going to do one more. Going back down or staying on with just one leg off the floor if it's right for you. And then put the feet down, have a stretch out. And then we've got our single leg kick, which I think follows on quite nicely from that, because you've got to control the moving aspect then. So I'm going to come back down again, 2 options. So first option, one leg off the floor, so bring your right leg up to your 90 degrees. Set your pelvis neutral, weight almost at the bottom of the spine, natural curve in your back, shoulders relaxed. Right leg up, left arm up, hand over the shoulder. You're going to squeeze your centre, keep it tight as you push the right leg forward. Pull this left arm back. Bring your arm and leg back to where you started from and put them down on the floor. Same on the other side, so lift the left leg, right arm, relax the shoulders, squeeze the centre and keep it squeezed as the arm and leg travel. And back in and down. And I'll just remind you of the common mistakes that you can just check that you're not making. Sometimes we get so worried about the arm and leg we forget this centre, and as they travel out, we overarch, we stick our belly out. Front abdominals are doing nothing, the back's doing all the work in that case. So as that arm and leg travel, squeeze the ribs and hips together. Going from side to side. Another common mistake is your coordination. So it's always opposite arm and leg, just to give you a fighting chance of getting the move right. If you do the same side, you're going to find it really hard. Okay, so that's level 1. If you want level 2, knee fold with the one leg, get that leg in the right position to support your back, bring the other leg up, and then both hands, so you're kind of an upside down table. We're still going to move one arm and leg, so squeeze the centre tight, push the right leg forward, pull the left arm back. Bring them back to centre, change sides. How long that arm and leg are out there is going to make a difference. So if you're finding you're just about getting this level right, you bring it straight in again. If you're more experienced on this move, take the arm and leg out, set this centre tight, and breathe through your ribcage while you're there. So you're making yourself hold that position if it's right for you. Remember, I don't want your belly doming, I don't want your neck tensing. Make sure you practice your thoracic breathing. Abdominals engaged, breathing through your ribcage section. One more. Check those shoulders on your last one. It's always the last of an exercise where you've got to be really careful because your brain's moved on. So you've got to really hold your focus. And then come back to the floor, hip lifts. Just flows nicely after that one. So feet about level with your knees. If you've got anything under your head now, take it away. A couple of bum clenches to make sure we are using the bum muscles and not the front abdominal muscles. So when we squeeze the bum, the pelvis does not tip back. Stays level. So a couple of bum clenches first, make sure they're working, then squeeze and lift. And down now. Particularly at home, you don't want to end up with your head mashed up against the wall behind you. So you've got to keep your shoulders still. So if you have your arms down by your side, and as you lift yourself up, push down on your hands slightly. It will help you keep your shoulders from sliding along the floor. It's quite often that's caused by tight quads. As you go up, they push you because they don't want to stretch. So just don't go up as high until they loosen up. Once you've found that this lift is okay, squeeze the bum. Check the knees haven't widened. Keep the legs parallel as much as you can. So you're going to use these bum muscles. Keep your bum lifted and float your arms back. Back to the ceiling and push down with your arms as you bring your hips to the floor. You're going to squeeze, lift the hips. Once you're up there, a little bit of work through the legs to hold up there. So make sure your feet are lightly pushing down the floor. Don't need to get cramp, but your feet are stabilising you to support your back. Then you float the arms up, take your time. Should be really aware of your bum muscles working hard now. If you're not, if you're feeling it further up into the spine, think about the front of your body going upwards. Trying to get a nice straight body. Press down through your shoulders and your feet to stay there, and then float your arms back to the ceiling. Push the floor away, push down into the floor with your arms as you bring your bum down. Get a bit more work out your shoulders while you're at it. One more. Try not to strangulate yourself. Up. Once you're up there, press into your feet and your shoulders to stay there. Float the arms up and back. And bring yourself back down to the floor. And if it suits you to do it, a nice stretch after that one is just to hug the knees in. And you can curl your shoulders up if it suits you, if it's appropriate for your body. I'm doing for time. So I've got my time there so I can see how much I've been blathering on at you. Quite a lot, it turns out. Alright, and then onto your side. So fidget across your mat, over you go onto your side. Cushion is quite useful underneath your head at this stage, or a rolled up towel, just so that your neck's not all cricked up. Knees are bent. I'll just use my arm, I happen to have one with me. Get your shoulder down, draw your rib cage up, top hand out in front, and roll that shoulder back. And we're going to do our arm circles. So bring your feet a little bit further forward just for a bit of stability, and then circle round. Unlike me, you've made sure you've got enough space with the wall behind you. Round you go. Opening up the chest. If you don't like this arm circle, if it doesn't suit you, remember you've always got chest opener if you prefer. I'm just giving you a bit of a different move. Round you go. Opening up the torso, sliding the shoulder down your back. A couple more of these. Reaching, mobilising that spine. And then we've got our single leg into our scissors to do. So we're going to work the outside of the legs. Now, if you're very bendy, these are real challenging moves, these side moves. They're the hardest ones if you've got a lot of flexibility. So you might just want to keep the bottom leg bent throughout the move, just to help you hold your position on the mat. Otherwise, have both legs straight and stretch out. Try and keep a neutral spine, so you're not overstretching again, not pushing your chest or hips forward, just finding that neutral position. Pull the rib cage, square the hips, lift the top leg to about hip height. Use your bum muscles, keep that rib cage lifted away from the floor. And then without your pelvis swinging backwards and forward, you're just going to move that top leg. It's not going to go a long way. If you watch people do this badly, they'll throw the leg all the way forward, but they're not actually, there's no core strength. I'm stabilising with this shoulder. So you lengthen through the spine and you move the top leg forward using your front abdominal muscles and your bum muscles to stabilise you. Stretch through the bottom leg. It might stay on the floor, it might ping slightly off the floor, but you're pushing through your heel on that bottom leg, travelling the top leg forward and back. If your bottom shoulder is feeling that it's doing too much work, make the move smaller, isolate it in this leg. And you can stay with this move, or you can bring the bottom leg into it, in which case you stretch out a little bit more, and as that top leg travels forward, the bottom leg travels back. I actually find this easier. I find I can balance myself better with both legs moving than there's just the top leg, but see how you get on. Stretch through your spine, keep drawing this rib cage up away from the floor. Remember, we need your spine stacked, not curving into the mat. Stretching out, use these leg muscles, push through the front leg, pull through, push through the front of the leg, pull with the back of the leg. That sounded a lot better in my head than came out my mouth, I do apologise. Couple more. Really lengthen through those heels, through the top of the head. And then you're going to bend the legs, have a quick rest, round your spine slightly if it feels a little bit tight. And then we've just got our side plank to do. So up you come, onto your elbow or your hand. And that's down to which suits you better. For this one I'm going to stay on my elbow because I'm going to lift my top leg, but you decide what's right for you. Bottom leg bent, top leg straight. Now you can stay here. You can stay in this position, right top arm raised, pulling the rib cage up from the floor. And that's core strength. Or use this top bottom arm, bottom leg, top leg, and lift the hip off the floor. Stretch through the spine, squeeze the bum muscles together, hold it for a couple of breaths if you can, and back down. So you lift. If you can work harder, if you're able, if you've got more in this leg, you can lift it. But what I don't want is the bottom hip dropping down just because the top legs come up. So keep that hip lifted up. Lower the top foot to the floor, put your hips back to the mat. Have another go. Lift your hips, lengthen the spine. If you're getting cramp in the bottom leg, this bottom arm and top leg need to help more. Lift this top leg, squeeze your bum, lift your rib cage, breathe. Are the bum muscles screaming at you? They should be. Back down. We're going to do one more if we can. Listen to your body. We're going to lift, lengthen the torso, lift this hip, lift the top leg, squeeze, and back down. Right, other side. Arm circling to start with. So down you go. And trouble with this side work, you know what's coming now, don't you? You can't stop now, you've got to do both sides. Right, so onto your side, get your shoulder comfy, bring your feet forward just a smidge, and then start to circle. Round you go. If this doesn't suit you, remember you've got your chest opener that you can do instead, which is a little bit kinder on the shoulder. This is quite a challenge for the shoulder. So if it doesn't suit you, go to the chest opener where your arm just moves forward and back. But if you're doing this one, nice big rotation, let your arm guide you so your chest opens to the ceiling and then you roll back onto your side. Have your arm or your cushion there just to support your head. Keeping the chest lifted and the shoulders sliding down your back. Another really good one if you're a bit round shouldered, this one. Just to wake the muscles up across your back, just to get them to support you a little bit more. Round we go. And then we've got our legs. So we're going to start with just moving the top leg. And then we'll move on. So get your legs straight. Remember, if you're very bendy and you find you can't hold a straight line, bottom leg bent will just give you more surface on the floor and help you not damage this bottom shoulder. Otherwise, both legs straight, stretch out, draw the rib cage, square the hips, lift the top leg to about hip height, and then start to travel it forward and back. Squeezing the thigh muscles as you move the leg forward, squeezing the bum muscles as you move the leg back. Find your balance, Sharon. Try not to stick your belly out as the leg moves back. You'll find all sorts of really poor execution of this move on YouTube if you go and have a look. It's not a swing, it's controlled. You use the leg muscles, stretch through the spine. You want to feel these leg muscles really working. Check the bottom shoulder because you don't want to damage it by pushing hard onto it. You might find if you really struggle with it, then your arm out with the cushion under your head just takes some of the pressure out of this bottom arm. And you can stay with this or stretch out, tense the bottom leg, lift it just slightly away from the floor without moving your hips so it's not going to drag, and then scissor. So as one leg travels forward, the other leg travels back, using both thigh muscles at the same time. So on the leg coming forward, front thigh muscles tight. On the leg travelling back, bum muscles tight. Push through those heels, push through the crown of your head. Draw the rib cage up. If you do find that it's just uncomfortable on the bottom hip and that's just distracting you, move the top leg. Just work on that top leg. But you're going to be hopefully feeling these bum muscles just working. Thigh muscles working. Get that kick a little bit wider if you can. Push through your feet. Be mindful of this bottom shoulder though. Shouldn't be working. And then you can bend your legs. Whew. Then we've got our side plank. So up you come. Hand or elbow, whichever suits you better. Shoulder supported, so the elbow or hand is directly underneath the shoulder. Rib cage lifted. Top leg straight. Resting on the inside edge of your foot. Arm up to the ceiling. And then if you lift your rib cage up slightly, you can stay here. This is a good stabilising muscle exercise. It's going to keep you strong. Otherwise, hip comes up and down. So it's like somebody's just pulling you, got a piece of string attached to that hip and lifting you up. And down. The bottom leg is working. You're going to feel this bottom leg pushing down, but it's not doing all the work. The arm and the top leg are helping as well for stability. And if you can do more, you lift that hip, you clench the buttocks together and you lift the top leg. Hold it for a few seconds, maybe count a couple of breaths or count to 5 and then down. If you lift the top leg and it drops your hip, then you've lost the point of the move. So you've got to keep that hip lifted up. Good. The benefit is this is I can't see you, so if I say do a couple more and you can't do a couple more, that's fine. Listen to your body more than you listen to me, really, because you've got to live with it, I haven't. Check you haven't slid away from that shoulder. That's it. I've lost count of how many more I said to do, so just to be careful, we'll do one more. So up, lift this top leg, really squeeze the bum muscles for your last one. And down, well done. Sit yourself up. We'll do a nice bit of stretching, so just sit on your bum. If you prefer to kneel, you can, but just sitting on your bum, you're just going to reach over to the side. So keep your chest lifted and reach over. You can, if you want to, reach over and there's a little bit of a twist. So you turn your torso down towards the floor if it feels good. So you reach over and add a little twist down, just to stretch across your back. One more, reach over, twist. So it's twisting forward, really, twisting this right shoulder down. And then we're going to stand up. So onto your knees. Go over to a piece of furniture if you need help coming up, or push back onto your feet. Check your feet are down first. Hands on the legs if you want for support, and then walk up. Okay, a little bit of, check you can see me in the mirror, my head hasn't disappeared, lovely, in the screen rather, and just gently rock on your feet. Just rocking. You don't have to leave the floor. Just let your weight slide forward and back through your feet, but you can lift the heels and toes if you want. Keep that spine straight, just like we did when we were on the knees at the beginning. We're not letting the body arch and flatten, we're keeping the spine pretty neutral, and our weight's coming forward and back on our toes. So it's getting the lower leg muscles activated. Stretching the toes out. And then we're going to add a bit of a swing into it. We're going to do a bit of squatting. So arms out in front to relax the shoulders. Widen your feet a little bit if you want. Sit back into your squat and bring your arms with you. So you sit back, drive through your legs to straighten and bring you up straight. And if your back lets you, do a little back arch. So sit back into your chair, drive your arms back, push through your feet, straighten yourself up, reach your arms for the ceiling, and then a little back bend if it suits your back. Good. And again, drive up and back. Now keep your arms up, have your feet about shoulder distance apart and roll your shoulders back. Then rise your heels off the floor. And down, just working the calf muscles a little bit. Keep sliding the shoulders down your back and raising your heels. Working the calf muscles a little bit. One more. Now once you stay up, bring your arms about shoulder level. Keep your heels lifted and see if you can sit back into your squat. Sitting down carefully, take your time, pushing on the balls of your feet, sliding your shoulders down, then see if you can come back up. Push through the balls of your feet and back up. I'm not looking at you. Keep your heels lifted, sit your hips back, sit down. You're going to feel your leg muscles working. Sit your hips back, keep your chest lifted, keep on the balls of those feet and back up. And put your heels down, roll the shoulders. It's got your concentration going, hasn't it? Nice big rolls through those shoulders, breathe. Check the light fittings are alright and give yourself a nice big circle. Just twisting around, that's just telling me we've done an hour. Round you go. And a little bit down the side. Keep your heart up. Your shoulders down. I hope you're still hearing me nagging you when you're going out for your daily exercise. Posture, thank you. Reach over. Have your feet a bit wider if that feels better, a bit more stable. That's it. And give yourself a hug. Wrap your arms around your back. Breathe deep into your back. And checking for ornaments, shelves, people, open out. Like that flower opening out for the sun. And curling, tucking your chin in, bending your knees a little bit if you want, letting your spine flex. And then opening out, drop your tailbone, reach your crown up, pull your shoulders back. Couple more of these, curling, bend a little bit deeper if you want to, just to really give the bum muscles and the lower back time to stretch. And then press through your feet, squeeze your buttocks together, pull your shoulders back, lift your chest. Last one, curling. Breathe through your back. Open out. Arms down by your sides, hands together if you can behind you, and then just ease your shoulders back for a final chest stretch. Right, I better let you go home. I better let you go and do something else. So arms down by your sides, feet planted. Job done. Thank you very much. See you next time.